So this is going to be a fairly short video today. It was inspired by a conversation I had at church last Sunday, and it's just some friends who have followed my family's story with my son who has spina bifida, and they just said, "How are you guys doing? How's he doing? And how are things? Are you guys loving the new van?" I don't think we talked about it yet, but a few months ago, my wife and I were blessed beyond measure with a wheelchair accessible van, sliding door on the side, has a ramp that folds down, and has had the whole conversion. So there's anchors to attach to his wheelchair and lock it down, so it is legal for him to be transported in his wheelchair, which it's an amazing thing for my wife and I. No more having to lift him out of the chair and into a infant-sized car seat. He's 6 years old. He was getting way too big for it, but we didn't have any other options. The van we had was old, didn't run well half the time. The sliding doors didn't work very well a lot of the time. It had a lot of problems, high mileage. It had served well, but was near the end of its life and was just creating more and more problems for my wife. And she's already dealing with transporting our boys and doesn't need to be dealing with mechanical problems from a van. Add to that the need for it to be wheelchair accessible. We were taking him out, putting him in the car seat, and then have to lift his wheelchair manually and throw it in the back of the van, which it's not super heavy, but it's awkward. It's just an extra challenge. My wife is not a big, strong woman, um, so it's just extra work. And then you have to get the chair out and put him back in the chair, and it's just a lot of monkeying around. Now, you open the door, fold the ramp down, run his wheelchair up the ramp into place, set the brakes, connect the anchors, tighten them down, hook a seat belt, and he's good to go. That still sounds like a lot of work, and it's not simple by any means, but it's worth it. And it was an amazing gift. The van was not brand new, but it was quite new. And our family, my in-laws had spread the word that it was just a need. People ask occasionally, what do they need? How are they doing? What kind of things do they need? What could we do to help? And they'd put the word out. They just said they're going to need a new van. They need a wheelchair accessible van someday. And aunts and uncles and cousins and some friends from church. Some people chose to remain anonymous. I don't even know exactly who to thank. And they also reached out to some friends of mine, a couple of my groomsmen and possibly others, as well as my side of the family a little bit. And people pitched in out of love. And they pooled enough money to buy this van and just gift it to us. Paid for, done, even a little extra money left over to cover the title transfer and a couple other things in the future. And we were left in tears. We couldn't believe anybody, let alone so many people, did something like that for us. Again, just out of love. And these friends from church on Sunday, I don't know if they donated to it or not. I don't have the list of names of people who donated, but they knew it happened at least. And they said, how's it going with the new van? And I was happy to share what a blessing it had been. And we talked about, over the last 6 years, the amazing amount of times and ways people have chosen to bless us. When we went to the hospital to deliver Finn, people asked for our Venmo and sent us money to cover food while we were at the hospital. One gift was enough. Once my wife and I once my wife was no longer in the hospital herself after the C-section, we stayed at a hotel for the remaining time that Finn was still in the NICU. One gift covered that hotel bill. Other gifts covered meals. Other gifts covered gas. Gifts covered a variety of things. We needed a car bed, I think I talked about in one of our earlier videos, a special bed that Finn had to be in when we brought him home from the hospital due to the surgical site on his back where they did the closure and stuff from his myelomeningocele. And so that was a custom ordered bed that we used for a few weeks, a car bed. Anyway, buckles down so that he can be transported laying down, face down, so that he's not putting pressure on the wound on his back. That was the whole point. Something we had to pay for. The hospital told us insurance would pay for it. They didn't. But thankfully, financial gifts did. And more of those gifts poured in. And, after a while, things settled down. The gifts, I would never say that the gifts stopped. The gifts came in less frequently. But every time Finn has a surgery or a need, the word gets out. And somebody or several somebodies offer to step up and help. For me, while I am always thankful, I struggled with being open to receiving gifts over and over and over. As a man, I feel a certain calling. Responsibility is probably more what it is. The traditional responsibility to provide for my wife and kids. But I'm not financially in a place that I could provide all the things that we've needed. Like so many people, my parents helped us with paying for financing the house that we needed when we moved where we live now. We needed to move closer to family and our church community where my wife had grown up because we just knew that with Finn, we were going to need a lot more help. But that area was expensive. We didn't go buy a super fancy house. We had a list of what we needed for Finn. We needed a ranch-style house because we wanted everything on one floor so that we knew he'd be in a wheelchair. We wanted him to be able to get living room, kitchen, bathroom, bedrooms without having to worry about going to a second floor or down to the basement. A few other things, close proximity to family and church, that was important. It all worked out better than we ever could have imagined. We're right around the corner from our in-laws, and we're about a mile down the road from our church, and right in the area where my wife grew up. So we're surrounded by friends and family. Couldn't have been more perfect. But we couldn't afford the houses. That area was in demand at the time, and we just couldn't do it. But my family helped. And there have been so many other things along the way. Again, the point of this is simply that while I have no problem saying thank you and being grateful and recognizing how lucky and blessed we are, so many of those gifts make me feel like I have somehow failed to provide those things myself. And people tell me, oh, don't do that to yourself. Don't worry about that. Sorry, it's just one of those intrusive thoughts that pops up. Deep down, I know. People see me working. People see me providing the best I can. And they still love us and they still want to help. And all I can do is say thank you. And work hard to someday be in a place where I can pay it forward to somebody else, because that's the other part of it. We're middle class financially, somewhere in there. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. But there are people with greater needs than my family. Family members who need more expensive surgeries or more expensive equipment or more special accommodations for vehicles or homes or whatever. And somehow we're the ones getting so much of the help. And I can't pay it forward to the people I see who I think need it. And that stinks. So, all that said, the lesson here is not just one of gratitude, but openness. I don't ever want people to look at my family and say, oh, they were constantly asking for this and asking for that. And oh, we have needs. And oh, we have this. And sorry, we do have some needs. And we're working and doing what we can to provide them ourselves. But when we don't ask for help and other people offer, I have to learn to be okay with accepting it. It's not pity, and it's not a sense of obligation. It's love. And be open to accepting love like that. So I hope I'm not the only one who needed to hear this. I hope this message reaches somebody else who maybe struggles with the same thing. Let your needs be known, and let it be seen that you're doing your best to provide on your own. And I pray that people will love on you and your family and choose to serve and provide in ways that they can out of love. I hope this finds you well. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Have a great day. Bye.